Crackshots and whippersnappers, take the hems out of your old trousers, memorize the capital of Tanzania, and remember that under capitalism, deviation from the norm is punishable until it is exploitable.
Because it's time to talk Tull to me.
Welcome back, friends, to Talk Tull to Me. I am Omen Sade.
And I am Nick McGill.
Together, we are Feckless Moans.
And this is Talk Tull to Me,
a rapid-fire question-and-answer broadcast in which Cowlick Nick and Corduroy Sade provide answers to obscure questions. Today's category, the discography of seminal prog rock band Jethro Tull. We will answer such cumbersome queries as, who is Jethro Tull? Is a flute an appropriate rock instrument? And who, to put it bluntly, gives a set of shiny, swollen rats tiddlywinks? So tune in, tune up, and tuna fish salad while we rack our brains for the next hour under the piercing gaze of Quiz Master General Ian the Throbbing Thalamus Anderson.
You are...
Some of that sounded better when I was in the bath.
Speechless. That was great.
Oh, thank you.
That was great. You practiced this in the bath? Is that what you just...
No, I wrote it in the bath. So, Nick, today, here we are.
Mm-hmm. We are here.
And it's an exciting day.
It is. It is. It absolutely is. We are starting a brand new album.
New album alert.
Prior to... Oh, do we have that? Oh, we don't have a sting for that. I guess we don't really need to. We can do this one. Did you see my hips gyrating there, or...?
I felt them in the dark.
You felt a disturbance in the force, right?
I sure did. So we have finished up with our previous album, which was, Nick?
Sweet, sweet Minstrel.
Minstrel in the Gallery. And now we are blasting forward. And we're starting with the first track off of Too Old to Rock and Roll.
But before we get into that,
yes,
we've got a little correspondence, a little connection from the fans. So, Marley, if you don't mind.
And Marley.
Oh, here we go.
Thanks, Marley. Thank you.
Mary, why? Could you please go put on some clothes?
It's near Sunday.
That's not a real... Nick, is that a real holiday?
I don't know her culture.
No, Sunday's part of my religion. It says so in my contract.
Oh. I mean,
I didn't...
You got to give her room to practice her religion, Omen.
You know, it's uncomfortable, but who am I to judge? Please express yourself.
I shall now do the sacred dance.
Oh, no, but please, do that in your own space. Get out of here. Sorry about that.
The rustling of dry paper.
Of high heel boots call, yes, indeed. So, Nick, what have we got?
My goodness. I have a contact from a mate, a bloke from Australia on Instagram. Reached out to talk to us. This is JK. Just a quick note to say that I'm really enjoying your Talk Tull to Me podcast. Only recently discovered it, so I have a bit of catching up to do. Each episode has produced laugh-out-loud moments, be it serenade to a curcoo, Swedish accent pronunciation of songs, song for Jeffrey being likened to vanilla ice cream with salt, or visions of Ian Anderson yelling out how shy he is. Thanks for making me laugh and for getting me to play all my Tull again. Cheers, JK from Australia.
Well, thank you so much, JK.
JK. All right. My Australian accent is pretty terrible.
I've never been able to do one. That's great, rough. Nick. We truly do have listeners all over the globe.
We do. It's wonderful.
Welcome to the Talk Tull to Me fold.
The family. Welcome to the friendly family of Tull Skulls here.
Yes. Nick, I have an email here.
Oh my goodness. We have an email. Ladies and gentlemen.
Your emails, sir.
Yes, Nick, we have a A prescription, a diagnosis from the good doctor.
Good Doc Savage.
Doc Savage writes, subject, from another place and time. Message, good afternoon, gentlemen. Courtesy of the internet, here's a contact from Britain. Oh, sorry, I should do an accent.
I suppose you should.
Here's a contact from Britain, and also from June 4th, 2019. I have only recently discovered your excellent pod, Talk Tell to Me, and while I'm listening to the episodes faster than you are recording them, I'm still a long way behind. Thus, anything I say in this email you might already have addressed, so apologies in advance if that's the case. First up, though, great job. You make me laugh. And you made me go back and listen to This Was again. This was a pleasure. I'm older than you at 53, but like you, I spent a lot of secondary school listening to Jethro Tull. Going to see them live, first tour was the broadsword one, with the ship's prow, which was damned silly, although the performances I saw were superb. End parentheses. And talking endlessly to two friends about them. My interest in the band dwindled through university. Parentheses, I started listening to jazz and soul almost exclusively. Suddenly Tull was just no longer cool. End parentheses. Until there was almost nothing left. Then an unlikely set of links sent me back to Benefit again, where I discovered I could still remember every one of the lyrics. Surprise! Horror! The intensity of one's youthful passions can never be replicated. There was a post about your pod on YouTube, and the rest is my recent listening history. I love it. I need you to know that I love it, because what follows are just picky little quibbles. I had picky quibbles for breakfast.
With a little almond milk on there?
Yeah.
A little honey?
Can we start with the fact that my girlfriend is called Alice G, and she happened to be in the room when I was listening to your episode 1 for John G. It's not ghee, pronounced with a hard G. That's Indian clarified butter, but a soft G. She was hilariously incandescent. How can they mispronounce a 3-letter word, she kept saying. She has nagged me to write this. You must now consider that she's nagging you.
Considered.
I heard you correct yourselves about Mick Abraham's name, always 3 syllables, but you could work a little on the Anderson hometown. What we've been saying, Dumfrienline. That has 4 syllables when you say it. Lin. I don't know. I know it doesn't look like it, but that's how you say it. Ian isn't entirely Scottish. I haven't been to your episode on Up the Pool yet, but Blackpool had much more of an influence on him than Dunfermline. It is truly a horrible tourist town on the northwest coast. Imagine Atlantic City. Only English, poverty-ridden, and brutal. Then you're close. I have a cousin who lives there. I don't visit him much. Otherwise, thank you so much for your time, trouble, and expense. Actually, this didn't cost us anything. I love it. And I'm sorry if I've quibbled too hard. That's what I said to my stomach after my breakfast. I reckon our timelines should sync at Dunringle, depending on how many bonus tracks you include now that the expanded editions have added to our Tull knowledge. All the best, Doc Savage.
Thank you, Doc Savage. We appreciate the quibbles. We appreciate being corrected on our
pronunciation,
our stretching of facts and surmizations.
We should remind our listeners, Nick, that we are, in fact, not English. And so we don't know how to pronounce all of the words.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
We don't know the wacky pronunciations. We read phonetically most of the time. And most of the time we accurately portray the word.
And as Americans, we're lucky that we can read.
That's true. Pity us. We are Americans.
Pity us.
I want to reach out and say thanks, Jeffy B. I guarantee you that YouTube reference came from you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
A beehive.
Beehive's a buzzing, baby.
Wide.
That's right. And I think one final super quick thing before we jump into the track today.
Oh.
Sir,
could it be?
Sensors have detected another star in the sky.
Dear Lord, that's 5 stars. 5 stars. 5 stars. 5 stars. 5 stars.
Another 5-star review. Another 5
Proving our previous points.
Another 5-star review from Agmash29A, also from Australia, could very well be our writer inner on Instagram.
Could be.
If it is, thank you. If it's not, also thank you. Says, easy listening with expert Tullologists. Be prepared for an in-depth exploration of every Tull song ever released. Also, the well-constructed florid intros are a treat.
Oh.
Thank you,
Well
Omen.
constructed and florid. I'm going to put that on my gravestone.
on your business card.
It sounds like he pulled that from a bottle of wine.
Thank you, Agmash. Thank you, Omen, for your florid and well-constructed intros.
You're welcome.
And that is it for housekeeping.
Yes.
But we are diving into Too Old to Rock and Roll now. We're not going to get too much into facts just yet. I think you've got a little bit, Omen, and I've got just a quick little Ian Anderson quote, and we'll dive right into the song.
Bold of you to assume that I had facts.
Well, I'm assuming that's not a coloring book.
Yes, Nick, I will read from the book A Passion Play, the story of Ian Anderson and Jethro Tull by Brian Raby, or perhaps Rabby.
We'll never know.
We'll never find out.
Much more accurate, yeah.
All right, I'm trying to get this book into here, and it's still a little bit wet from the bath, so give me a second. You thought I was joking when I said I wrote that in the bath.
No, I definitely thought you were being serious.
Oh, okay, good. Well, that's friendship, Nick. You know me.
Mm-hmm.
Too Old to Rock and Roll, Too Young to Die, 1976. When Hammond left the band, a suitable replacement was found in John Glasscock, formerly of the band Carmen, who was dubbed Brittle Dick.
Yeah, old Brittle Dick.
Anderson and Dee Palmer, the band's orchestral arrangers since this was, had been writing a stage musical about an old-fashioned rocker who comes back into fashion. They had Adam Faith in mind for the lead role. This was another project that didn't get off the ground, like the War Child album, which was to have been a movie soundtrack. It was not written on the road, as all other albums had been. It charted at number 25 in the UK and number 14 in the US, where it was the first of the 1970 albums not to go gold.
Yeah.
Anderson fervently denies that the main character, Ray Lomas, is in any way autobiographical.
It is actually the only 70s album from Tull to not go gold.
Yeah, indeed. Let's just pull some of those facts. So we have a new bassist.
Yep, John Glasscock, yep.
And we have, and I suspect, Nick, that this will delight us for the coming months, we have essentially a score. We have, this album was written with it being a stage musical in mind.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be hard not to see it as basically kind of how we saw War Child, like the excerpt said.
We will do our best to not become obsessed with that particular vision of it and try to take the songs at face value as well as contextualizing them into our imaginary stage musical. Nick, what have you got regarding this album?
I've got that we have this recorded in December of 75 at the Maison Rouge mobile studio, like where they did Minstrel.
Back to
Monte Carlo.
Back to Monte Carlo.
Or Monaco, I can't remember. I don't know the difference. And it was released in 76. And a quick little quote from Ian. The title track came to me on a plane journey when I was in heavy turbulence and very frightened. It was a piece about the kind of 50s Brit rock and rollers. Those bikers in the era, it was in their world and they were already pushing 40 or 50 by then. You could mock that, but there's something rather noble and determined and dignified about it, and I just wanted to explore that dichotomy. It's wistful and nostalgic, and also a bit of a put-down, and it's finding that balance in a song sometimes. Let's keep that in mind as we move on through the weeks of this album, but I think that's enough for right now. I think we should jump in.
Just before we do that,
yes.
Geographical clarification, Monte Carlo is part of the Principality of Monaco.
Oh, so we were right in both senses.
Yeah.
Thanks, fact check.
You are welcome. So without any further ado, Nick, shall we listen to the first track off of Too Old to Rock and Roll, Too Young to Die, entitled Quizz Kid?
Let us do that. I'm ready.
Whoa, Nick.
Woof.
Whoa.
Wow, Quizz Kid. Goodness me.
This album comes strong out of the gate, doesn't it?
It really does. And thinking of it as a stage play, it really ought to, if this is our opener here.
Yes, it must.
Yeah.
Unless it's a Vita or something where you start out with a funeral. That's no fun.
But it's still a powerful, palpable moment.
Are you talking about a Vita or this?
Yes.
Well, don't cry for me, Nick and Tina.
Nick and Tina.
So let's talk a little bit about the construction of this song before we really dissect it.
Sure.
Musically. So what we really have here is an album intro before the song Quizz Kid proper.
Yeah. Well, it's the
Quizz Kid,
entr'acte. It's the glimpse of the overall theme that we'll be hearing somewhat regularly throughout the show.
Indeed, yes. So we have the Too Old to Rock and Roll. What do they call that, Nick? It's the
entr'acte.
No, the entr'acte is between the acts.
Is it?
Yeah, entre means between.
I disagree with much of my life right now.
I disagree with French.
I do.
I'm sure all of our listeners are literally yelling at their phones right now to try to tell us.
I genuinely hope that they are.
It's the orchestra, the prelude, it's where the orchestra plays through the themes before the show so that you recognize them.
Mm-hmm.
Come back to our other podcast, Mangle Musical Theater Terminology to Me.
Oh my gosh.
Where we will give you the answer to this question. However, at any rate, we have the Too Old to Rock and Roll intro, which is gorgeously stringed by D. Palmer. It's got some heavy D.
Unfashionable to the end, crank his aim to light.
Heavy D, some gorgeous cello, gorgeous violin. Exactly what I expected from D, and I'm good with that.
Some quite nice Ian acoustic guitar.
The old rocker wore his hair too long, or his trouser collars too tight.
Yeah, the acoustic is nice. Yep, I like it. There's a heavy timpani drum in the back that just kind of pounds away at certain points. It's
I am
nice.
fascinated by that, yeah.
I like it.
Boom.
There's a bells buckle, yesterday's dreams, the transport camp, rough it out there.
Oh, the overture?
The overture, yes,
There it is.
Nick. Thank you very much.
There it is. Thank you, Google and Quora. So it is the overture, not the entr'acte. Gorgeous strings, heavy, like just a single timp. It's not like it bounces back and forth from the drums. It's just maybe it's just one of those big bass drums, like a marching band bass drum.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's a lot bigger than a kit drum. I'll tell you that.
It's very funny. It's very ominous.
Mm-hmm.
It's very present.
Yes.
And then we break into the Quizz Kid song proper.
Yeah, the transition is about a minute in. Then we jump into that kind of that blend over into Quizz Kid. Yeah.
Yes, and apparently it sounds like they wheeled Martin Barr into the studio while asleep, put the guitar in his hands, turned on the mic, and then put smelling salts under his nose.
And he just boom out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a defense reaction.
Yeah, it was his fight or flight response was to shred the hell out of that guitar. And boy, I would have run away. And
I was a predator. I wouldn't have. I would have thought twice. Too much effort.
Yeah.
Not enough meat.
Not on Martin Barr, no. I got to tell you, John Glasscock is making a hell of an entrance on this album.
Yeah.
First song off the first album, boy howdy is he doing some good music in here.
Give me some words to describe his bass playing there, Nick.
It's hard not to describe well-played bass as funky.
Okay.
Just because we're kind of accustomed to that boom, 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 boom. Anything that is really pronounced for bass is funky, but it's plucky. It is not comfortable sitting in the background as most bass pieces are. Like, he really makes that effort to bring it forward, and it's.
I really thought you were going to say it's not comfortable sitting on the speaker when the bass comes in.
No, it's too comfortable.
I need a new speaker.
And I gotta say, his bass in conjunction with Martin's like ripping guitar, they work really well together. They fit nicely.
For a weekend of high life, they'll wine you, dine you, undermine you. The better not bring the wife, be a Quizz Kid.
Maybe at a later date, Nick, we will dive more into the history of Mr. Brittledick himself, John Glasscock, and his previous band. That'd be fun to do a little comparative.
Yeah.
Side by side, bass by bass.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm interested to see his origins, to see what Carmen is up to.
So now Nick, we're sort of fully in the musical analysis portion of this show, I think.
Mm-hmm.
What did I write? Oh, there's some fun kind of dissonant chords that Martin throws in.
Okay.
At the top during that intro. He throws in some notes where the chord isn't pure exactly. I don't know how to describe it in musical terms, but there's some fun dissonance in there that really sets the stage in a way for the content of this song, which is really fun.
The old rocker won't listen, too long.
Yeah, I think it does well to sonically foreshadow our story of kind of hectic and not always perfect and flowing and pieces where they are supposed to be. There is a lot going on in this song, and it's very easy to miss bits and pieces.
But you're right, this song does take a little bit of a maximalist approach musically.
Yes, very much so, yeah.
Throws everything into the blender.
And it does come out successfully, though.
Yes, you can still taste all the elements.
Yeah, and you can always go back. If you know what you're looking for, or you actively listen for these separate pieces, it's not terribly difficult to pick them out, but it's also really easy to just listen to the full thing on its own.
We have a heavy use of the hi-hat by Barrymore Barlow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the public laid a second, the brain cells spattered on the wall.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot noticeable except for a couple of fills and that hi-hat from him. He is, of any of them, it feels like he is further in the back.
But he's still providing the structure that's really necessary for this song.
Absolutely. There are a couple of nice acoustic moments mixed in with the bulk of that really heavy, frenetic electric at about 2:45.
It's a tryout for a quiz show, the millions watch each week.
And then another one shortly after at about 3:15.
Our encyclopedic knowledge may be barbaric, but it's fun.
There's some really nice little pieces where Ian comes back to the fore of that sound.
Mm-hmm.
Presumably Ian. I mean, it's fairly safe to say that Ian's going to be on acoustic.
Oh, yes, I think so. There are some fun bangs and sort of clangs later on, maybe slightly more than halfway through the song.
Okay.
Where it's just, I assume that it's Barrymore just banging some stuff, but there's a part where some of the drums come forward. It's almost like that timpani or that bass drum sound that you were referring to earlier, but I think it's on a different piece of equipment.
Yeah.
All of it combines to produce this interesting effect where you feel like you're being dragged along by the song, and there's something a little bit disquieting underneath it all.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Your feet are swept out from under you, just like Ray's are. But to go back to that percussion really quickly, without going into full personnel, in the list of personnel, Barrymore Barlow is listed as drums and percussion, obviously.
Sure.
But Ian is also listed as additional percussion.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's specifically here, what he played, we don't know, obviously, but
Sneaking into the studio late at night to
bang shit. Yeah.
put a hidden triangle in some tracks.
The old hidden triangle.
Yes.
Ian is known for that.
There's an entire track composed solely of rests. It is the only rest I got this year.
He's just crying the entire time.
Silently.
Yeah. Silent cries.
Tear 2, 3, 4. Cry 2, 3, 4. Sob 2, 3, 4.
Weep, weep, weep. Anything else musically, Omen?
It has a fade out, which is not great for the live stage. Makes me wonder what the plan was for live performance of this.
That's a good idea. I didn't think about that, but yeah.
Yeah, just slowly be quieter and quieter and hope the audience doesn't notice that you're just still standing there.
Of all the very few times Tull does a fade out, it is the opener to a musical.
And of course, by the time they were recording this, they knew that they weren't literally recording a musical.
Sure.
But it's just funny to think about.
Well, maybe they never actually cemented an ending, and that was a bug in their bonnet, and then they realized, well, it's not gonna be a stage play. Let's just fade it out.
Yeah. Nick, do we know how many times this song was played live in concert?
Quizz Kid specifically. I'm sure Too Old has been played a handful of times, but let me see what we got for Quizz Kid.
Looking into the Chartometer 5000.
I see 3 in 1976.
Wow.
The first time it was played May 3rd. The last time it was played May 11th. So in a week, they played it 3 times in a week, and that's it.
Never again.
Yeah, apparently France and Denmark did not like it. They did not appreciate it.
C'est quoi cette Quizz Kid?
No.
Je m'en fous de ça. So, great. So let's talk about the content of this song, Nick. The lyrics, if you will.
Yes, I will. Is this a response, or not necessarily a response per se, but at least inspired by Tommy?
Tommy by the Who.
Yeah, 1969 came out. So it's 7 years later. So it's hard to make that connection, but it does feel it in the sense that Tommy was also a stage musical.
Oh, true. That's interesting.
Let me actually see when that became a stage musical.
And it also deals with a prodigy. I think that the better comparison from the Tull end of things is actually Thick as a Brick.
Okay. Just to clarify, the Tommy musical first performance was 92, so it's definitely not that connection.
They probably got the idea from Tull. They're like, remember when Tull almost staged that musical?
They tried. Let's take that idea and be successful about it.
So here is from our dear friends at Wikipedia, the entry for Quizz Kids.
Okay. Does it have 2 Z's like the song name?
No, single Z, single S. Quizz Kids
single
was...
Z.
What?
Single Z, single S.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for clarifying that for our across the seas brethren.
Yeah, they're like, what the is a Z?
Quizz Kids was a radio and TV series of the 1940s and 50s. Created by Chicago public relations and advertising man Louis G. Cowan, and originally sponsored by Alka-Seltzer. This series was first broadcast on NBC, blah, 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 blah.
Would you say that was the 50s?
40s and 50s.
40s
Probably
and 50s.
40s radio, maybe 50s TV.
So maybe it became a catch-all term then, a Quizz Kid.
Well, it absolutely. It seems like it was the first of what became, a whole genre of entertainment. So it was, the questions were sent in by the audience and also by a couple of research experts. And The answers were supplied by, quote, a panel of 5 children chosen for their high IQs, strong academic interests, and appealing personalities, as well as such qualities as poise, quickness, and sense of humor. And then, of course, that format goes on for infinity.
Right, to this day, yeah.
To this very day. So I think that as you suggested, it does become kind of a catch-all term for that kind of competition.
Yeah, not necessarily a kid, not necessarily a child at this point, but some layperson, some person off the street who has come in to compete in a quiz show and is seemingly consecutively successful at it.
Could be.
Yeah.
Or at least gets down, gets to go do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And in this song, we are introduced to the idea of prizes.
Yes. Yeah, because that's why you do it. That's why you go into one of these things, is to not necessarily for the fame, but for the reward at the end of it.
Some people do it for the glory, and some people, I think, definitely do it for the reward. And, and in the modern era, we definitely see people going on baking competitions and Who Wants to Be a Millionaire in order to win the prize, which can change their lives.
Sure. Yeah, there are any number of competition shows at this point. You name what it could be.
Forged in Fire.
Yep.
Knife or Death.
Blow Me. No, there's a glass one.
There's that too. That's not on a lot of programs. That's not on a lot of stations.
Oh, you got
Blown Away.
You don't. There it is. No, that's not what it is.
Yeah, it is. Blown Away. That's the glass one.
Oh, okay. There's a craft one with Nick Offerman and Amy Poehler.
Yes, Making It.
That's it, yeah.
So, we could go on.
Yeah. Oh, and there's a barbecue one on Netflix, too, that's really good that we watched.
Barbecue It.
Yeah. Nope. Making barbecue of it. Barbecue this. No, I think it's like
Barbequiz.
National Quizz Kid. It's just, yeah.
Barbecue Kid.
But yeah, there are countless options. Close your eyes and throw a dart, and you hit a competition show. And yeah, it's fairly easy to trace that line of the progenitor of that initial Quizz Kid program starting in radio and then working its way into television as that became more regularly accessed.
Now, Nick, I think that there is an important other cultural element that I want not to lose sight of, which has a strong liaison with what we're talking about, especially in the English context.
English-British context, yes.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is that?
That is the pub quiz.
Yes. Yep. Okay.
Now, I don't know when the pub quizzes started. Perhaps some of our Anglo correspondents can fill us in on that, or we could do research. I jest.
Oh,
but
you're such a joker.
I do know that it is a significant part of British culture, and if you are really good at the pub quizzes, that gives you a certain kind of strange status, at least amongst your friends, or perhaps just bragging rights.
Right.
Or you might win a free pint.
And trivia night before the shutdown, trivia became a fairly big thing over here too. It was working its way over to the States as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that there is a little bit of this, the kind of working person's dream. One of the working person dream narratives is to be rewarded for the thing that you're good at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to not just work the rest of your life in anonymity and just scrape by.
Right. So imagine Johnny the Crumpet Factory Man, who's good at the pub quizzes, sending in the request from the cereal box, that they have to cut out and mail, and then getting a response telegram back and saying, "All right, we're gonna bring you down to London to actually try out for this thing, and you could win a trip to Ibiza." Like.
Yeah, not you're guaranteed a spot in the show. They're interested enough in you to bring you in to try out to be on the show.
So, it's interesting. I have some thoughts.
I relish the idea of your telling me those thoughts. Don't tell me them. I'm just relishing that idea.
Yeah, the anticipation is much more satisfying than the actual thing itself.
The actual reveal, yeah.
I guarantee you.
All right, Omen, I'm ready. Tell me your thoughts.
Well, I believe that we should look at this song through the lens of Ian Anderson
Okay.
Who, as we know, will always be Ian Anderson, and therefore will always have one little part of his DNA, at least, which provides a social critique.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's terribly too much of a stretch to see this as a critique on some level.
Right. At the same time, it is more positive sounding than a lot of what we're used to. You know, there is almost this sense of, you can do it, like, be the thing, do the thing. You can be the whiz kid, you can be the quiz kid. You're having success. Don't bring the wife.
Taking this song completely out of the album's context, yes.
May you rise to dizzy success. May your wit be strong and quick. You know, some of these may you do this and this and this almost refers directly back to the list of qualities that they looked for in the contestants, the Quizz Kid original show.
Yeah.
May
Good
your tongue
point.
be in your cheek. You know, it's not enough to just know the answers. To be successful in this kind of television, you have to be charming and witty and interesting and likable.
It's funny they never held those standards to the people on Jeopardy.
All of those qualities were embodied by Alex Trebek. May he rest in peace.
I'm not sure about that, but yes, may you rest in trivia heaven, you beautiful, beautiful man.
Indeed. So here's my thought, Nick, and it is this. I think that buried in the lyrics of this song is a critique of this middle to late stage capitalist society, which replaces the gladiator battles of ancient Rome with the entertainment of regular citizens battling it out for such small prizes as a trip to Ibiza.
Yeah.
For the benefit of the broadcasters and the rich.
Oh, sure. Yeah. The price.
Price is wrong.
The price is wrong. Bum, 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 bum. The price of a 2-week trip to Ibiza is a drop in the bucket compared to the sponsorships.
Yeah.
That the network, that the producers, etc., are going to be making off of this.
And Nick, I'm certainly not guiltless. I enjoy this sort of entertainment. I watch the baking shows. I watch the knife crafting shows. And most of them have, for a one-off episode, if you're a one-time contestant, the prize is almost always 10,000 American dollars.
Which, I mean, for some is a decent little chunk of change.
I think for many Americans, that could be really life-changing.
Sure.
At the same time, I always think to myself, whenever they talk about the prize, you could win $10,000. I always think to myself, that's really not that much money.
Yeah. You're going to have to pay taxes on it.
Also, if you're $50,000 in debt, you're still, great.
And $50,000 is like a very generous amount of debt. A very generously small amount of debt for your average American, yeah.
Very average amount of debt.
Yeah, that was a year at Hofstra.
I'm going to look up what the average American debt is.
Oh, God. We're bringing this down even more.
Sad. Be a sad kid. Wow. So much worse than I thought.
Oh, Jesus. So what is the actual number for the average American debt?
Everyone, write down a number on a piece of paper or say it silently to yourself in your heads. If you get the answer right, you will win 10,000 nothings. According to Experian's 2019 Consumer Debt Study, total consumer debt in the U.S. is at $14.1 trillion, with Americans carrying an average personal debt of $90,460.
Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds a little high, maybe.
Well, that's the average, meaning that some people have even more.
Yeah, that's true. That is
how
absolutely
averages work.
terrible. That's not factoring in the fact that you have no savings in case you have an emergency. That's not factoring in that you have zero retirement. We're in a tough spot. So $10,000. You're not going to sock that away for a nest egg if you've got $90,000 of.
Oh, you're
of
probably going to pay it to your creditors so that they don't break your knees.
Yeah.
So, which makes me think, Nick, that perhaps some of these people on the baking shows are not baking for the passion of cupcakes, Nick, but are truly like the gladiators of the ancient Roman times, baking for their lives.
For their lives. I suppose it depends on the baking show, but yeah.
Yeah. If it's Sugar Rush, they're baking for their lives.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Let's get back to Quizz Kid.
So this is the start of the story of Ray Lomas. He applies to be a contestant on, we don't have a name for the show, do we? On a quiz show.
Quizz Kid.
Yeah, on Quizz Kid, I guess.
Now, do we know that this song is speaking directly about the lead character, Ray Lomas?
I suppose it is. It could be a general kind of overarching, this plea is made out to anyone and everyone who wants to be a part of it. But I have a feeling we see it happen in some sense.
This is sort of the history of the rock and roller.
Yeah.
Interesting.
He fell for this, quote unquote. You know, he bit.
He fell into it.
He fell into it, yeah.
Nick, question for you.
Mm-hmm.
What parallels can we draw between the state of being a quote unquote quiz kid and the state of being a rock and roller?
Well, there is a level of fame that you can compare, that you are known for this one thing in the eyes of the media or the general populace.
Yeah.
That all it takes is one wrong answer or one bum album, one flop of an album, and your career is done.
One minstrel in the gallery.
And guess what? There's a line of countless people behind you.
Polishing their flutes, memorizing the capitals of the world.
Ready to step up and take your place.
Interesting.
We wish you the best of luck and the highest success, but you are so expendable, I'm not going to remember your name.
May the odds be ever in your favor.
Yeah.
So, in a way, you're describing a precarious position.
I think so, sure. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, you don't often see very comfortable billionaires getting onto Jeopardy.
No, they have no reason to.
They have no reason to.
Because they don't know anything.
Well, I mean, that aside.
There's also the interesting difference between this is that if you are a quiz kid, if you are, on the reality show, your future lies entirely in the hands of the judges.
Yes.
If you are a rock and roller, if you are Ian Anderson, you have the possibility of failing and reinventing yourself and shedding your skin like a snake every album.
That's true, yeah. If the record company is willing to give you another chance, yeah.
Or if they're not, you could form your own record company.
Fair enough, Chrysalis. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just interesting. I don't know that it's useful to draw a parallel, but I think I want to.
I don't think it's unfounded. I think it is something to think about because just under the surface of seeing bits of commentary, we see bits of Ian's life and how he's experiencing things. There are analogies and metaphors and things for how he is living at the time.
This is a less obscure song lyrically than many other Tull songs. We do kind of have a pretty clearly laid out set of images, a storyline, a sense of character.
It's telling us the story of Ray, for sure. Yeah, because it does have to be a part of this musical.
But even if you take it out of that context, if you just look at it as a standalone.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's go do the quiz. You can go to you're a quiz kid. You can do it. You can do it. Yay.
Mm-hmm.
Fade out.
Yeah. Pick a favorite set of lines in here. What are your favorite lines on this song?
Let me look at the lyrics, Nick. Nick, none of these lyrics actually jump out to me as really delightful.
Okay. I've got two sets actually that I really.
Yeah, please tell me.
Answerable to everyone, responsible to all, publicity dissected, brain cells splattered on the walls of encyclopedic knowledge.
Yeah, I do like that. That's nice.
Answerable to everyone, responsible to all,
it's visceral. It's evocative. It's really nice.
Well, and it brings in the sense of brutality.
Yeah. Maybe barbaric, but it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then actually the next line, so it's this two little lines, right, one after the other. As the clock ticks away a lifetime, hold your head up to the gun of 1,000,000 cathode ray tubes aimed at your tiny skull.
As the clock ticks away a lifetime, hold your head up to the gun of 1,000,000 cathode ray tubes aimed at your tiny skull.
Is that not the description of a television?
Yes, particularly back then, they were made of cathode tubes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all of this is said with that smarmy Hollywood smile when they're really telling you, like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna crash and burn. Have fun while you do it, though, buddy. All right, we'll see you, champ. Take care. Take care, Tiger."
The thing that I find fun about this is that, and most of all, we pray that you may come back next week.
And most of all, we pray that you may come back next week.
Yeah, but they say that to everyone.
Right.
They don't care.
No, but the fact is that even if you win today, you could go down next week. You know, depending on the format of the show, they all have different.
Oh yeah, even more so because they're more excited. It's more exciting to see a champion kicked out of their spot.
Our reigning champion.
Yeah, it's got a slimy feel to it, and it makes me very uncomfortable. But it's portrayed perfectly. Like he does it very well.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Nick, is there anything else that we want to say about Quizz Kid?
No. You know what? No. I think we covered it very well. I love the lyrics. I would highly recommend reading the lyrics along with listening to it because it really does make a difference, I think.
Indeed. So next week, Nick, we will talk about the second track off of Too Old to Rock and Roll, Too Young to Die, Crazed Institution.
Mm-hmm. We're going to build more onto this story and see more of Ray Lomas's life and how this experience has affected him, I think.
Indeed. Until then, it makes the feckless momes at Talk Tull to me very happy whenever they receive it.
What is a 5-star review?
Ding, 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 ding.
Thank you. Reigning champion. Until next week and that crazed institution, I am Nick McGill.
I am OMENSADE.
You have to say the word after and before.
I never was good at spelling competitions.
Lost points.
We are Feckless Momes.
And this is Talk Tull to Me.
Welcome back to Things No One Needs to Know. We are here with Betty Squan. We have Rudy Freckles here, back from last week, and a newcomer on the stage. Please, everybody, welcome Widget McGee. Yeah!
Widget.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome. All right. First question goes to you, Widget.
Yes, I'm ready.
After her brother was murdered in 1997, who took over one of the world's most famous fashion houses? You have 10 seconds. 10, 5,
Donatella
3,
Versace?
2. Bing, 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 bing. Well done. I'm actually literally impressed that you knew that. Second question. This one goes to you, other person that I mentioned. Betty?
Johnny Freckle? Oh, Betty.
Betty?
Yes.
Who is the only doctor in the history of British medicine found guilty of murdering his patients?
Yep.
You have 10 seconds. 5.
Doctor Who?
That's correct! Doctor Who, the doctor from the British TV series, also a murderer. And finally, we have a question for you, Johnny Freckles.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, let's go to the hard category here.
Oh,
dun,
no.
dun, dun. Talk Tull to Me is a proud member of which audio network station?
Oh, I know
Come
this.
on.
I know
Come
this.
on.
Is it-
Wait the world. Don't disappoint your parents. You could use that money, kid. Come on, get us out of poverty.
Is it the Finkelstones?
I'm
No.
sorry, the correct answer was the Feckless Gnomes Audio Network.
I knew that.
I'm gonna press the electrical chair button here,
No.
and
No.
sorry that your journey ends here, Johnny.
No. Beep.